In this episode of the RV Small Talk podcast, we're going to talk about this thing that is really fashionable in a sense, but also it's been around a long time. And that activity is overlanding. Overlanding. That term has maybe been overused, misused, but it's the right word for this discussion. Vehicular-based travel, not so much that your point A and point B are important, but all that distance in between should be enjoyable too. And we're going to bring in a special guest who has a deeper connection to overlanding than even we do. So stay tuned. Welcome to the RV Small Talk podcast, where we talk about lightweight trailers, truck campers, and the people, places, and adventures that go right along with them. We're your hosts from Princess Craft RV. I'm Clint.
I'm Cody.
And today we have special guest Chris Devereaux, and he joins us. He's kind of become part of the family here at Princess Craft RV in the more technical realm, but he has a connection to overlanding, off-roading, and whatnot. And he's diving into the RVing side of things with us. So I thought I would bring him in, and Cody and I could just pepper him with questions and see if we could get a sense of
Can we put that in a bug shooter?
Yeah, sure, yeah. It's a little bit messy, a little salty, but I digress. How should overlanding and vehicular travel be a component of RVs and camping and that lifestyle? Can they go hand in hand? Let's find out.
Let's do.
So, Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I hope you've never listened to this podcast before, so this is all new ground and surprise to you. Have you listened to the podcast?
One time.
You did?
Yeah.
Which one? Do you remember what episode it was?
Yeah, it was the one I think my buddy Mike was on, maybe.
Yeah.
Mike Smith, yeah.
So you listened a while back.
Yeah, I guess that was quite a while back.
Yeah, how's Mike doing?
Good. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a little while.
Well, he lives a few miles down the road, San Marcos area.
Yeah.
So,
actually, I take that back. I saw him for Thanksgiving. So
okay.
We spent Thanksgiving together with a group, and we actually go camping.
Yeah, he usually goes to like Big Bend and all that for, or Terlingua or something like that for, I guess, one of the holidays.
Yeah, I think his sister's still out there, and I think he probably still goes once a year at least.
Yeah.
But he's like doing a lot of mountain biking stuff, and I think he's staying a lot more local now.
Sure.
But,
Well, he was coaching and all that, it seemed like.
Yeah. Yep.
So very good. Very good. So what is, I mean, in a nutshell, kind of your background with outdoor pursuits, and then we'll move from outdoor pursuits into four-wheeling, overlanding, and where we're at now. So background with outdoor pursuits.
So me and my buddy Sam Shirley started a little Facebook group in 2014 called Texas Overland, and slowly grew over the years. And we, at the same time, we got together with Frank and those guys from Texas Outdoors. And
so they were two separate things.
Yeah, two separate things. Okay, but we kind of were like sister groups, or like sister, not company. They're a company, we never were. But
your Facebook
group. Yeah. We were like sister entities basically over the years, and we still are. So our group was kind of like a communication medium for the people that wanted to get involved with like the Texas Avid Outdoors events.
Okay.
And we would have our own events too. We would do like a spring roundup, and then the TAO stuff would be in the fall. So there'd be something on each end of the year.
Okay. All right. Now, the first time I came up to Princess Craft and I think you were arriving on the scene, coming into the shop, maybe bringing some tools in, and you came right in the back, the service lot and all that. And I was like, who's driving this lifted Forerunner?
Yeah.
That looks like it's ready to go.
He totally cornered me. Who's this guy driving in here like that?
Like this, hey, Cody, this guy has the code.
He's like, he's got the code to the back gate.
Yeah. I was like, man, I got that pretty quick. He gave that to me.
So what's the history there with four-wheeling and off-roading?
Well, I'm from the Midwest, and I got here in 14, down to Austin in 14, but a couple of years before that, I bought a 92 Toyota pickup, and all my coworkers and my buddies back home had old Toyotas from the 80s and 90s. And it just started there. And then I moved down here shortly after. I sold that, and then I picked up what I have now, my 99 4Runner. I've had that for 10, 11 years now. It's been my daily, and I've been to Big Bend, Colorado in it. All over. It owes me nothing. I owe it a lot more than, but yeah,
it brought you back every time.
Yeah.
So far.
It's
whoa.
It's got 400K on it now.
Ooh.
It's on its second motor, and so I just camp out of it. Me and my girlfriend and my friends.
Yeah.
And
Are you kind of typical car camping, or are you doing beyond more of the rigged out sort of thing?
I'm not really into like the car is like the camper type thing.
So not the rooftop tent thing?
Yeah, I've had a couple over the years, and I've done the trailer thing, like with a roof tent on a trailer. And but man, what I like the best is just the Oz tents. I've had 2 Oz tents now, and they're just tried and true, and 4 season. You know, they just work for me. And
that's the thing I like about it, is that you can really just overland travel is choose your own adventure anyways. But all the rigs and setup, there's a real camaraderie of run what you got
for sure.
But also, if you want to be a rooftop tent person, fantastic, great options out there. Or if you want to have basically a rooftop tent on a trailer, fantastic, go for it. If you want to stay tent style, or if you want to just sleeping bag or a quilt on a picnic table, also fine.
Yeah. It's funny because my brother, he's got like a big F-250, and he just, when we go out, he just brings a cot and a sleeping bag, and like
under the stars.
But he's got an RV, he's got a Oz tent as well.
Yeah.
But he's just like, I just like the cowboy stuff, and
it's great.
That's his thing. But yeah, to your point, there's something for everybody.
I feel like the accessories can run away with a lot of us guys.
Oh yes,
like
that's almost the best part of
their
the
hobby. It's part of the hobby. I can totally see it. I can also see the danger of getting so invested in how I'm building something out that I'm not using some of my time and resources to actually going out.
That's correct.
I would be more inclined to becoming a problem that way, I think.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because we've always, TAO or TO admins and stuff. We have a group chat. We've had one for the last 10 years, and we always talk about different things and styles and stuff like that. But, we've always like wanted to see what all Texas has to offer. But some people build their rig or their setup to go like to Colorado twice a year or whatever. And like, that's their thing. But like, we like used to get out every other weekend and just like go to Sam Houston or go to Davy Crockett. Yeah. And then like the next weekend we're just in like some random field, like outside of Waco, and like, so yeah, I mean, it's, you build around like what suits you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So Texas has a reputation of having a lot of, overland style enthusiasts, great rigs, people who are really invested in the community. But it's also, its reputation is not only that it has the people, but it doesn't have much public land.
No.
So how does one get enough of their overland cup filled up in Texas? Obviously we can get to other places, but it's a heck of a drive. It's 8 hours from where we're sitting to get to a Texas border.
Sure.
And we have high-speed highways. Like, but 80 miles per hour.
But your overland rig may not be able to do that.
I've seen them do it.
Yeah,
Chris, would you like to fill in on that there?
Well,
will your 4Runner do 85?
No, well, maybe not that one.
Comfortably all the time, no. But like downhill, downwind, for sure. And but we actually went to see my friend Mel. I mean, me and my girlfriend went to Terlingua this past March, and we were coming back, and we were heading back towards Fort Stockton, and we hit 80 a couple times, and like it was one of those rare occurrences. It felt like 60 though, so it's like you're just like, okay, like I'm just gonna go with it,
run it.
But like if I go 80 down 35 like tonight,
Yeah.
like it won't feel natural. Like it'll
Not good.
No.
Sketchy.
It was like my Hummer just
stuff
didn't even
starts
like
making noise.
65. So
No, it sure didn't. But back to how does one overland enough in Texas without leaving Texas borders? How does one do it? How do you find the places? And then I'm going to tack onto that summer.
Yeah. So that's a good question. I think luckily now it's probably the easiest it's ever been with like Onyx and all this offline like pay to play map services. Man, when we were like first started doing this, my buddy Laud is like a tremendous map builder, but he just like that's his thing. He just loves to do
Does
it.
he like
and
make
that was
GPS tracks that you can plug into your
GPX files, and he shares them. He doesn't share all of them, but like he shared like a good percentage for a long time. Actually on the TO Facebook page.
Okay.
But I mean. That was his thing, and he just loved doing it, and that was never really my thing. I was more of like, let's see where Laud's going this weekend, like let's follow him and have a good time. But I mean, it is what you make it, you know. But I think people forget about, like, we have 4 national forests, like they're 4 hours east of here. I mean, they're beautiful in the fall, and you do have to be careful with hunting season and things like that. But if you don't want to drive 8 hours to Big Bend or 12 hours to the state park, I mean, it's a great option, and it's pretty peaceful out there.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've lost some things in Central Texas. Some of the like Pace Bend, like some of the go-tos that people would, you know, favor. But, you know, like I said, it's what you make it. And there's more than just Arkansas. You know, there's more than just there's stuff to do here. You just have to find it. Okay. You got to be willing to look. Okay,
what is it, you mentioned pay to play? I know about Onyx, and I've dabbled with it a little bit, and I've dabbled a little bit with Gaia's app and whatnot. And Onyx has been around for a while. I mean, they started out with HuntX and Onyx Off-Road and all that. But what is this pay to play kind of thing, and where do people start learning about it and finding stuff there? Yeah, so Onyx is like it's like a community, like a, what do you call it? Is it user sourced information? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. But you can like buy into like the lower tier, and it doesn't have all the like fancy options, or you can pay like the $100 a year. But I mean, like, you can, I guess my point is like, there was none of that like 8 years ago. And so you're still like, doing it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, that's why I say it's the easiest now that it's probably ever been. So yeah, the Onyx maps are kind of cool. You can get them where they show up on your display in your trucks these days. Yeah, you know, and you can see all the trails. Yeah, so right there on your big display, just like Google Maps would come up on your dash, or Apple under Maps, like Android Auto or something. Yeah. Or CarPlay. It essentially is the same thing. You can put it up on your big screen in your truck. And there's like trail ratings and reviews, and like oftentimes there's like photos to go with it. And so yeah, I mean, you know what you have a good idea of what you're getting into. You know? Okay. So all right. So if someone comes up to you and say, look, I got 3 weeks, and let's say it's the right time of year, maybe spring or fall or something like that, and they come straight up to you and say, I have 3 weeks and I have limited gas or unlimited gas. Strange scenario, I know. Where would you send them to Overland? Oh, 3 weeks. In Texas. In Texas. In Texas. Well, man, I mean, I would say definitely start in the Big Bend region, because even a week isn't enough to do any justice or make a dent out there. I mean, you could stay out there for 2 weeks and be like, okay, like maybe I'm kind of getting bored. Maybe I'm ready for something else. But like, there's a couple of trails that actually run like all the way through Texas, right? Isn't there one like over in East Texas? I recall running across something in East Texas. Yeah, there's the East Texas 450. Okay. And then there's the Hill Country Trail. That's just like an hour west of here. It starts an hour west of here. And so, I mean, but that's a 2-day trip. And you could take that out west.
Okay.
But then our buddy Todd made another one called the Cheeseburger Loop.
I'm down.
That's all.
Yeah. All of a sudden I'm hungry.
Actually, I think he made the ribeye loop. There's all these.
I'm also down.
There's a lot of there's a lot of overlap though too.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, yeah, there's like, you can do 3-day trips just outside of Austin.
Yeah.
And then, there's, I think like the East Texas 450 probably takes, 2 to 3 days on its own.
Okay.
I've heard that I haven't done that one, but I've heard it's pretty gnarly if it gets wet out there. So,
Now, what does that mean? Because I think of people who are traveling that way trying to avoid major highways. In fact, trying to find as small a road or as unpaved a road as possible. Are there many unpaved roads left?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's more than what you would think. I mean, a lot of these, a lot of them have been asphalted over, especially on the Hill Country Trail.
Yeah.
Man, when the ADV guys created that years ago, it was probably 99% dirt, I would guess. And now it's probably 50-60% dirt.
And that'd be the Adventure Motorcycle Group?
Yeah. Those guys, like, a lot of people don't realize, but they like paved the way for what Overland is in Texas. I mean, a lot of credit is owed to those guys.
You know, I was made aware a few years ago of the Trans-American Trail, and that's an ADV kind of like a pilgrimage for people in America is to go from coast to coast, basically, on the smallest back roads and in trails and dirt roads, fire service roads. And they have a coast to coast trail, avoiding highways, and they were ADV guys. So I guess the Texas stuff was kind of developed in a similar fashion.
Yeah, for sure. The guys from Central Overland back in the day, they made it like, they brought it to light. I think the ADV guys wanted to keep it hush hush, which I don't blame them.
For fear it'd get overrun or paved.
Which
it got overrun and paved.
Which did happen. Yeah. You've got a lot of unhappy property owners, a couple hours west of here that they see it every weekend, and that's not why they moved out there.
Right.
That's not why they live there.
Right.
And I see both sides. I can't blame them, but it is what it is. People are going to have fun as long as you do it responsibly. I mean, it is what it is.
So it's for our listening audience, what does responsibly mean?
Well, I mean, pack out what you pack in, don't leave any trash. I mean, don't
stack rocks.
Yeah. Well, unless you're Hidden Falls.
Yeah. That's a hot topic. Rock kicker.
Don't go off the road. Same rules that apply to like BLM, Colorado trips and stuff like that apply here. I mean, it's just be respectful. It's for everybody. So we don't want, they're closing all that stuff in Moab right now. And there's debate as to why, and whether we'll ever find out why is unknown. But, it's just, if you're responsible, I mean, it's all we can do.
Yeah. So I see people who travel and they pull trailers that we sell, because we sell some lightweight trailers, or they take their big, diesel pusher and they're hauling a Jeep behind it, because for some reason, Jeeps really go well with recreational travel of all kinds, right? So that's one reason I wanted to kind of bring you in, is to tie in, because whether it be a Jeep or a Toyota or any very nimble kind of situation, this is an activity that you could be doing because you're already out there, or it can be an activity that your RVing allows you to do more of, or to get into.
Sure.
So you've kind of come into our world recently here at Princess Craft. Has that really started working on your mind on RVing, and maybe these two crowds need to know more about each other and support each other, do more together?
Yeah. I think there's space for both, I think there's room for everyone. But a lot of people are going to more of like a luxury based like overland, with the 4-wheel campers and like the teardrops, the high end teardrops and stuff. And I mean, they're hanging out with the same people that are tent camping.
Sure.
So they're going the same places. And even like people will build an ambulance, stuff, and live out of it all summer.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all going to the same places.
I've seen 4-wheel drive buses, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much did it cost to do that?
I don't know, but it sounds like it would be fun.
Get the ground clearance and go, right?
Yes.
But
don't say it weird.
if you go to Fall Expo, TAO Fall Expo, I mean, there's every type of outdoorsman out there. There's people in a swag, and then there's people in like $500,000 Iveco camper trucks that you can't even get in this country.
Right. And so somehow it's there.
Yeah. So,
but you keep it simple with your stuff.
Yeah, I do. I just, less is more for me. I haven't had anything like too fancy over the years, but I will say I do like these Intech flyers a lot.
Yeah. I do too. I've had 3.
The ones with the pull out. Okay. The ones with the pull out fridge and stove and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like looking at those. I was like, oh man, this would be pretty nice.
Sure.
They got AC, furnace, everything.
Yeah.
Well, now they do.
Now they do. Yeah. Just recent ads.
My current one still doesn't have a furnace.
You go camping in Texas, and that's like, you just don't camp for 2 months.
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
And when it's cold, I've camped in them down to freezing. I'd take a bunch of quilts on those camping trips or something like that, make a fire outside, or if I need to, I'd bring one of those Mr. Heater little buddy heaters, which works really well for heating up. It does make it a little bit wet inside because it's kind of a wet
propane.
Yeah, propane burning.
Yeah.
So,
well, your regular furnace in an RV will do the same thing.
Yeah. So, I like the idea of those diesel heaters and all that. I don't know if they are quite as bad with moisture or not. I don't know.
No, they're pretty good actually.
Yeah.
I was dabbling in them for the past couple of years, and I learned like way more than I wanted to. But there's Facebook groups with like 20,000 members and stuff like that.
All
and
about
like
their diesel heaters?
multiple. Yeah, because a lot of these, they're way more common in Europe
and China.
Yeah. I mean,
where a lot of them come from.
But like you can get the S bars and the Wabastos, the high end ones, but like not everyone's going to pay for that. It's like, I just want to be warm. So I'm going to get this Chinese one off eBay or something.
And you need a Facebook group to know how to use it.
Yeah. Or not use it, depending on which one.
Yeah.
But they're really like customizable. Like you can make improvement. It's like a Honda Grom. Like you can like buy it and run it.
Yeah.
Or you can like make it reliable and like you can have $500 into it like before you know it.
Yeah. And so you built a nice one.
Yeah. But they're really cool. They work well. And I've used one in my Oz tent for the last couple winters, and they're nice.
That's how you keep warm. How do you
cool off?
Man, I think if you need AC to camp, it's not camping season.
Okay, fair enough. So that's what I do. Is
so you don't camp in Texas summer? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. If I had something with AC, I might get out. Well, I definitely would get out for like 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. But it's like, I mean, everyone's this time of year, they're just jetting to Colorado.
That's what I do. I go to when it's hot in Texas, I go to higher latitude and higher altitude.
Yeah.
Both.
But of course, even last week it was hot there too. I mean, it was just as hot. So,
I mean, they've got these portable air conditioners on the market.
Yeah.
You played with any of those?
EcoFlows and the Zero Breezes.
Yep. And they've got a couple other brands out now. So
I haven't
have any experience?
No, I don't, but I would like to. They're kind of spendy, the EcoFlows, but I think that like the size and like
they're heavy.
Are they? I mean, we'll see. Time will tell, I think, but I would love to have one.
So I've got a Wave 1, EcoFlow Wave 1, portable AC.
Okay.
Mine has always worked.
Okay.
I have never had the opportunity to use it in hot season. They discontinued it and made the Wave 2.
Right. Current model.
A current model that is also a heater. So
that's kind of cool.
It's interesting. Reviews are mixed.
Yeah.
Reviews are mixed. But like I said, mine has always worked. It's always blown cold air when I turn it on.
Yeah.
It is not going to cool off like, your house AC for sure.
No. I think what you're hoping for is 10 degrees cooler than the ambient air outside is the best you can hope for.
Yeah. And really, if your plan is to stay cool during the evening or at night, you don't get a chance to run it during the day because you got to reserve your battery for the nighttime.
Sure.
Do you run it off like a lithium?
So mine's got the add-on battery on it. So it's got a lithium battery on it. I think it's like I don't exactly remember the specs, but it was like an 8-hour runtime in eco mode.
It's not bad.
Which is, alternating the fan and the compressor just on and off. So it doesn't just burn up the battery. I like it plugged into the wall because then it just runs nonstop.
Yeah. So you can plug it into 110?
You can plug it into 110 or you can run it off the battery.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, cool. You can bring your generator and just run it.
Yeah. There you go.
Not in California, but you can here.
That's right. For now.
Yeah.
I picked up a EcoFlow River 2 last year on sale.
Portable power station.
Yeah. I had like a homemade like house battery with like a Victron controller, solar panel on my 4Runner for like years and years, and it worked. But the house battery went bad, and it was from 2018, so I definitely like got my money's worth out of it. But I was like, man, before I pull the trigger on like another house battery, I was like, let me just look and see what's out
research.
there. I mean, it's just come so far, technology.
It has.
And I'm just like, man, screw this. Like,
it's packaged.
Like you can just open it out of the box. It's already a solar controller, and it's lithium now.
Yep.
So it's like, man, I'm going to try this.
How's your take been with it? Has it been good product?
Yeah, it's been good. I look forward to running my diesel heater this winter off of it. But like, I like the percentage. It's dummy proof. I like the percentage readout instead of like, my battery's at 12.5. Like I better like move my solar panel into the sun, like, I mean, all that stuff's good, but it's like, I'm kind of like a set it and forget it kind of guy. So I'd take reliability over anything else,
Okay.
Sure. It's been great.
Good.
Sure. So let's say someone is interested in dipping their toe in the water and they get overwhelmed because they go on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do because I'm in a few of these groups, and I know Cody is too. And the discussions are a bit deep and very opinionated and oftentimes super gear centric. And here we are, we got a newbie, maybe in Texas, maybe elsewhere. How do you suggest that they successfully dip their toe in the water of overlanding so that they don't snuff out the flame? It's not just a flame out. I tried it and it was horrible. What's the right path to grow this interest?
Man, I would say just try to find some people that you vibe with and that you like to be around for 3 days at a time. And, put some money aside for some tires and some gas and just go. I mean, you can do it with a cooler and like some C-rated all-terrains. You don't have to have like a roof tent and all the fancy stuff. A fridge makes things nice and like solar makes things nice. But like, I mean, it wasn't that long ago where we didn't have any of that stuff.
Any of it.
So, I mean, our parents were like still camping like when they were kids.
And their parents were in a covered wagon.
That was the lifestyle, yeah. So,
I mean, a lot of people are doing this in Subarus.
Yeah.
Man, have you seen the overlanding Miatas?
No.
They're hilarious.
No. I saw this kind of wicked overlanding Suzuki, though.
Yeah. You can do it in a Civic.
If you really want some inspiration, I would say on the Expedition Portal page, they have a section in there called, I think it's ongoing like ongoing adventures or something like that. But anyways, it's people that just update their travels in real time. And then there's a couple subcategories of it. But anyways, someone put like all-terrain tires on a Honda Accord, and they went up to like Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, and like that was it. That's all they had.
Well, as a Honda, the engine was going to make it.
Yeah. Like they didn't have anything fancy. They just like they either like slept in the Accord or they hoteled it, and like
they went.
But they did it. I mean, yeah, you don't have to spend 30 racks on a.
See, that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so what I'm hearing is you don't have to have like this big, super expensive vehicle that's, lifted 6 inches, riding on 40s and all of that kind of stuff, right?
I mean, that stuff looks cool.
It looks cool.
It is cool.
And it can be functional if you do it right.
Yeah.
How do you find this crowd? Let's say you're interested. Maybe you have run across a lot of this in Facebook, but you have nobody.
Yeah.
You don't have family and friends who are really campers. You don't have this community built in. How does one kind of meet up for the first time? Are there kind of things going on? Because you would think that the people who are already doing this, they're out in the woods somewhere.
Yeah. Sure.
Or out in the desert somewhere.
Yeah. There's definitely a few ways, but I think once you just start honestly just going, I mean, like that's how I met my best friend Laud, was literally going, and we were out on a trip. I was on just like a weekend trip with my brother, and we stayed at Lake Whitney at like a no pay site. And like I met my friend Laud there, and we've been like great friends for 10 years now. And I mean, like I wouldn't have met him if I wouldn't have just gone, like I wouldn't have never met that guy like on Facebook or like Instagram, but
can I request that you and Laud go ahead and start your own podcast and Laud Overlanding, OLOL.
Yeah.
Wow. See, there's the Clint jokes.
I mean, I'll help you get started.
So not only that, but I mean, on your Facebook page on Texas Overland, can people make contact there? Do y'all post like events that y'all are going to be doing there?
Yeah, for sure.
That people could come or, join in on?
Yeah, for sure.
To try to make that connection.
But we share on Expedition Portal too. And then we share, we actually don't have Instagram anymore. It just got to be too much. But yeah, I mean, we try to reach out to as many people as we can. But I'm a big advocate of like Expedition Portal.
I was going to say, you've mentioned that enough times that I'm thinking that that's a primary target to get information and connect. Obviously there's groups like your Texas Overland group. There's events like the Texas Outdoor Festival that Texas Avid Outdoors puts on, and the really big, overwhelming Overland Expos, which Cody and I went to last year. It was last year.
Was it only last year?
Yeah, it seems like forever ago. But we
went to Flagstaff, made the run through that. That was. No,
I did say it was overwhelming, and yet it was a really cool thing to be at see.
It was cool to see everything. Yeah. We got rained on, but it was cool. And we had to run through the airport.
Oh, that was the worst part.
I thought we were both gonna die.
Mm-hmm. But so those are Expedition Portal. Facebook groups like Texas Overland and Texas Avid Outdoors, events like overlanding festivals and stuff like that. What other maybe online places or resources or even personalities to connect to? Because there's a lot of them out there. They have their blogs or their YouTube channels.
YouTube, I mean, if anybody that knows me knows I'm just like a YouTuber. Like I don't even watch like television anymore. Like I don't watch the news. I just watch YouTube.
Pretty much the same.
There's so much stuff on there.
Yeah. And it's right up your interest every time.
Yeah. And you can pick like what you want to do, who like the people that you like who might want to meet one day or that you like, I mean, there's just, you can not pick it.
Right.
And it's like Joe Rogan. It's like,
who are you following besides Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I don't, not a big Joe Rogan guy, but yeah.
But who in the overlanding world are you watching?
Honestly, just my friends that I've just come to know over the last 10 years. They like, some of them like go to Baja every year, and like some go to Colorado, some move to Colorado, some are more like East Coast people. Mainly just my friends, but I like to watch lately. I've been looking at some stuff like in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Yeah.
There's an event up there that piqued my interest, so I'm trying to get up there for that at some point.
When is that?
It's in September.
Okay.
So it's called Core.
Okay.
But it looks like a fun time. I don't know anyone that's personally gone, but it's and that's the other thing too, is like there's like Overland groups for like every state, it seems like. I mean, there's like a Georgia Overland on Facebook. Sure. There's a Michigan Overland. There's Tennessee. I mean, that's like a click away, a Google search and click away.
Yeah. Do you find like you guys could, like you said, you could get on your group, Texas Overland, and say, hey, look, I'm really interested in this. Anyone else want to come? And you'd very quickly have like a train of Overland vehicles heading up.
Yeah, it's definitely not so much these days, but it's definitely happened in the past where we used to have like they were called rolling meet and greets,
right?
And they were like our monthly TO meets. They were primarily around like the Waco area, halfway between Austin
kind
and
of
Dallas.
central-ish.
Yeah, pretty central. But like Laud, who was putting them on, he would find these like ranch roads. Like, he would find these roads that had no pavement,
right?
And that you could drive them for like 6 hours at a time. I mean, and it was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
We would get like 20 to 25 people.
Wow.
And, I mean,
so there'd be 20, 25 rigs?
Yeah. Sometimes it would split up into two different groups,
right.
So it's just easier.
You're not really ticking the locals off?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Logistically, it makes things easier. But those were a lot of fun back in the day. We're hoping to do more of them.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Cody, you just got rid of your Overland build that you were doing.
I did, all of it.
Yeah.
Every single piece of it.
You spent about a year or so building out a Hummer H2.
H3.
I always get the models mixed up. Yeah. And then you decided, you know what? I'm done with this life. I'm overlanding in a Toyota Sienna.
Well, he's got a big Ford now too.
That's not where the overlanding's happening.
But you did get a Toyota Sienna.
I did. Yes. Okay.
So you have a F-250?
Yes.
All right. So what's your take on overlanding in an F-250, Chris?
You can do it.
Yeah.
There was a big meet. I don't know if they still do it or not, but it was called the Fulls. What was it called? They used to go out west in like F-250s every year.
Like I'm just going to go here. I mean, think about like Ross Monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the other big guys. They build on big trucks.
Big vehicles. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's possible.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Okay. So I have a fairly base F-150, which a lot of our trailer buyers have something in that class. It's just a half-ton pickup.
It's a do-all though,
So you mentioned start with where the rubber meets the road. C-rated tires. Is there anything else that they might want to just kind of have an eye on, or is it just tires and go? Just pick your route carefully.
Well, I think you want to be safe. You want to tell somebody where you're going,
okay.
How long you're gonna be out there. But I just think definitely have a plan A and a plan B. You know? That plan B, you never know when you're gonna need to pull it out of your sleeve. So other than that, I mean, I think have a good attitude and just be willing to settle if you have to settle. Like if you get somewhere and like there's too many people and you have to find another spot to settle in for the night. You know? But
now you're here with us at Princess Craft right now, and you've seen truck campers come through. And what do you think about truck campers? Because some of them are fairly basic and some of them are massive triple slide truck campers and all that. And we actually know, we have friends who have taken their 1-ton dualies with a triple slide Host Mammoth up and down the coast, right on up to Alaska a couple times and all that. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
I like them. I'm a fan. Well, I mean, it's kind of cool because it's like the retirement. It's like someone that's retired and like maybe on a budget, like, and they can't afford like a Class A, like a big bus, like, dude, that's like the next best thing. Maybe.
Have you seen the price of a Host Mammoth?
And the price of the
and the price of the truck to carry it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you're cresting on a pretty nice motorized motorhome at that.
Well, that's true.
But you don't have the flexibility, right? So your truck camper sitting on in the bed of your truck gives you a lot more flexibility than where a motorhome's going to go. Because if you've ever looked at the ground clearance on a motorhome, most of them are dragging the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
But you could do van life.
Yeah. For
the same price.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get down with van life.
I was looking at a Storyteller just this weekend. They're nice.
They are.
I think sportsmobile, like a E-class, like sportsmobile is probably my retirement plan.
Okay.
But van life. I mean, it's like, it's blown out, but it's like, how can you argue?
I like the what is it? Maybe the late 90s Econoline vans.
Yeah.
The people that kind of still boxy.
You got to make it look like the A-Team.
Yeah, man. Put a solid axle under the front end. Make it a pity the fool.
Yeah. So if you guys, the two of you, see this pretty often. Okay, if you guys were to take one of our, let's take any build out there, whether it be Encore RV, Intech, New Camp, MDC, any of those lines that we carry out there, and you looking at it, has a torsion axle and a standard ball coupler. Mm-hmm. All right. Would you go, or what would be things that you would say, I want to go, I'm going to do these 2, 3, 4 things to this trailer, and then I'm just going to go. What would be, from a practicality and making sure your equipment is up to snuff enough?
I think that, if you start up front and look at your coupler, that's going to be a big point to start, because your axles can actually handle, some flex and some ground clearance.
Well, and a torsion axle, which is very common on these trailers, is pretty much an independent suspension.
Essentially, it is
connected by a tube.
Right. So you've got to check your ground clearance there, right? But having your coupler be able to articulate as you go over very uneven terrain will help keep your trailer in check.
Yeah.
And hopefully keep you connected where it's not going to be too much stress on the ball and cause it to release or something like that. Yeah. But from there, definitely looking at like a true off-road style suspension. Timberen's got one out. Kurt's got one out.
Yeah.
Some trailers even have custom long arm, short arm type stuff.
Yeah, the trailing
that
arms.
Can really flex. That's going to give you, along with that articulating coupler, really the mobility to move around off road.
Yeah. Do you think that there's
but not every trailer can have that upgrade?
Do you think there's a case to be made that yes, that tag from New Camp can do this? Yes, that Intech Flyer can do this. Yes, that Encore. Yes, that MDC. That there's a lot more capability in them, as long as they have, maybe you change out a bolt-on coupler for something with more articulation, and you look at your suspension and ground clearance. Do you think there's a case to be made that these guys can do it?
I think so. I think some of them can. Yes. I think that the ground clearance is going to be probably the biggest issue. Yeah. Just because of that axle design. But MDC's already prepped.
Yeah.
So it's already got the articulating coupler. It's already got the true independent suspension on it. Mm-hmm. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
The others, I think, could be modified to do maybe some just above, like some beginner stuff.
Yeah.
I
would definitely wouldn't take it out and try to do any real difficult trails.
Well, we've
or
seen MDC
like
go up some gnarly stuff, including some of the more difficult stuff at Hidden Falls, outside of Marble Falls.
It's true. And you really got to secure your stuff if you're going to do that.
Right.
Inside the trailer.
Yeah.
And
I can imagine that you're doing fine, and then something weighty shifts, and suddenly you're not doing fine because the balance is thrown off, or it shifted downhill, and that momentum, whenever it stopped, pulled your tow vehicle.
Wow.
I have bad like domino effect issues going on in my head.
Yeah.
But to Cody's point too, like it's like the easiest it's ever been. Like with the Kurt Echo brake controllers, like you can just take like a car that wouldn't normally have a 7-way,
right?
And like now it's like totally safer because all these trailers have brakes now, you know. And
yeah.
Like some of the ones built 10 years ago might not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the big ones, the small ones, they all have brakes and they're all like safer. And like even now, I'm looking at that tab, like the water tanks are like tucked up under there.
Right.
So I think you'd be surprised is where you could take some of this stuff.
There was a few years ago, New Camp with their tag product let some YouTube channel have a few tags, and they ran a competition on who could drag that thing through a wooded obstacle course the fastest and then back it through. And they, effectively destroyed the trailer, but the trailer did admirably. I can't say that word. Admirably. The admiral, corporally, no, sergeantly, it did well, considering what they put it through. I mean, they took it off jumps and whatnot.
Oh, sweet. Take it off any sweet jumps?
Sweet jumps, yeah. I'll have to find that, a clip of that and show you guys.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
So, so where have you been that's really spoken, in your overlanding adventures, where, doesn't have to be in Texas, have you been that's really spoken to your heart?
A few years ago, I was visiting a friend in Georgia, and we did part of the Georgia Traverse, and I really hadn't heard much talk about it before that, and it was kind of like an Arkansas, maybe like a mellower, like high watermark-esque type trail, but it's underrated. Okay. North Georgia is underrated, and I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers if some people might say, "Oh, don't give away that secret," but I mean it's worth it to go. Wow. For sure.
Okay.
And of course Colorado, but I mean everyone knows that,
Sure.
But yeah, Appalachia. I mean it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think there's just way too much to see, but the problem is I'm dreaming about seeing them and not going. Enough.
Yeah, well, you get busy, and for the longest time, I was working on cars and old Toyotas primarily, and I was that way. I was always getting everyone else's stuff ready to go out for their summer trips, and like then one year it just hit me, and I was like, man, I need to go, you know, and I went to Colorado for the first time actually just last year, and people like can't believe it. Like, you've never been? I'm like, dude, I've never been. I mean, and I have now. I'm just like,
so that begs the question. I mean, that makes me think that you probably haven't done any of Utah yet.
No, I haven't. No.
And it seems like that's like Mecca for U.S. overlanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe even Washington and Oregon kind of area.
Yeah. Yep. I've got a friend doing some stuff, some Oregon Trail, like remapping.
Is he dying of dysentery?
No. But he was nice enough to invite me on that trip. I think it'll be next year.
Okay.
And I'm going to try my darndest to go, but it's not, he's like basically retracing parts of the Oregon Trail. And like, I mean, people aren't really talking about that stuff either, Yeah. And that's kind of like an original idea.
So you can have a lot of dream it up and go kind of things. And you can have, I'm guessing, some themed things. You can do historical trips where you're retracing all kinds of things that happened in history.
And you can do that in Texas too. Like there's a lot of good historical stuff just like an hour west of here.
I was just in San Antonio and we went to some of the missions on the mission trail. Not that it was overlanding. It was more exposing my kids to really cool old things.
Sure.
And reading all the plaques. But there is so much neat stuff down south where I grew up. I grew up down in Victoria, but we were close to Garcitas Creek, which is right where LaSalle, one of his ships, wrecked, and they found it while I was in high school. And so as part of extra credit, us high school and college kids could go and clean artifacts from a ship that they found in Garcitas Creek out near where I lived. You can find that stuff all over the place. Wow. All over the U.S. you can find something historical to get invested in, but certainly around the perimeter you can find all the missions and the explorers and things like that.
Sure, yeah. Pearl Harbor would be cool one day to do. That
You're going to drive there?
No, I'm not going to drive there. But that's, yeah. But just to your point, you know, there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah. Landmarks. Everywhere, man.
I've been everywhere, man.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm far from everywhere.
Yeah.
I just tend to work.
So before we wrap this up, in this overlanding conversation, what ground have we not covered?
Oh man, I think you could talk about it till you're blue in the face, but I think like to your point, like just getting started, I think we like made some pretty good points. Maybe we could dive off into the gear a whole lot more, but you know, I mean.
Yeah, and I want to keep this more like get people inspired to go out. And if you're towing a trailer, detach from the trailer at your campground and do these little outings. Maybe you go and camp near something that you can do some, you know, I don't know the tier system. If it's like snow skiing where you have the bunny slopes and all that, find some bunny slope overlanding.
Yeah, there you go.
and all that because there's something about being on the smaller roads, maybe a dirt road, a back road, and going slower and taking it in and negotiating what the environment throws at you, but do it safely and with a plan, and then get back to your camper. But I mean, I just wanted people to think there's more to it. There's more ways to get more connected to America by traveling it differently.
Absolutely.
So,
and you don't necessarily have to have a 4-wheel drive or like a van, you know, you can do it in a Honda Accord.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, I'm going to try to, in the show notes, listen back through this and write the show notes and have a few of those links in the show notes of Facebook groups and apps and locations that you talked about. Maybe I'll be able to get with you on some profiles to follow and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the meantime, Cody, you got anything else? I've kept you guys after work. Thank you. You've worked a long...
I know, I'm hitting my tired spot.
You guys have worked a long, hot day here, and I asked you to stay after work. So let me get you guys out of here. Everyone, do remember that we do have show notes at rvsmalltalk.com. We are recording this, not only audio for the podcast, but also video, so you can check it out on YouTube. If you just look up the RV Small Talk podcast. On social media, look up RV Small Talk podcast, and we're going to try to share the episode and maybe have some discussions. So go there and check it out and join in. And this has been a whole lot of fun. Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my first podcast.
Well, we can do more.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll drill down on some gear on the next one. The fun stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to know from the listeners if you would like more of this content, because we want to make something that is useful to you. So if you want to hear more on how to get around in more rough terrain and how to plan trips like this and maybe have some ideas and discussion on actual equipment, do let us know. I know that this is traditionally a more classic RV style podcast, and we are not getting away from that content. But if you would like more of this style content mixed in, sprinkled in a little bit, then let us know on social media or go on Apple and leave us a 5-star review. But in your comment with a 5-star review, give us some thoughts and whatnot, and we will check it out, and it'll help to inform how we move forward with our discussions. In the meantime, it's been just a great time. Cody, Chris, thank you for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.
Later.
See ya.